Hello, very good morning. Are you able to see my screen? Are you able to see, right? Okay. We start up. Okay. Uh, if you will be into manual testing, so what are the different roles you will be playing? So as soon as you get assigned any other project, they will share you the requirement documents. Before sharing requirement documents, what they will do is like your project manager introduces all of the team members. After that, very brief idea about that project they will share. They will give. Okay, so this is what happens normally. As soon as you get assigned any of the project, your project manager introduces with all of your team members. Then somebody will give you like overall idea about that project. Then they will share you the requirement documents. You will be going through the requirement documents. At any point of time during going through requirement documents, if you get any other doubts or questions, you can talk to anybody in the team and can discuss and can resolve. Okay, after that, create, if it is a new startup project, means creating the test cases. Once test case creation done, while getting test case, who all are the people available for that project, whole team members get allocate, I mean to say like get share the modules and come up with creating test cases. Okay, so once they create test cases, then onwards, whenever they get releases, so they will be executing those test cases. So that means this test case execution you can consider as regression testing. Okay, so and retesting, during performing regression testing, if you find any mismatches, you can report them to developers for fixing. Okay, so along with this one, weekly status reports, daily status reports, some conference calls, meetings, so these all are your different roles you will be playing if you will be into manual testing. Okay, so major role would be like regression testing. So I said like there are two types of releases for any of the project. So major release and minor release. So minor release means every 1 month, major release means every 3 months. Okay, so before going that one, today we'll try to see like what is manual testing, what is automation testing. So manual testing disadvantages, automation testing advantages, automation testing disadvantages. Okay, so what are the factors to be considered to go for automation, what is the criteria you'll consider to go for automation? So these are the different things you'll look for. Okay, so what is manual testing? If you perform regression testing with the help of human beings, okay, that one you can consider as manual testing. Okay, so whatever the testing you perform, that means like regression testing, that means like executing the test cases. So if we execute test cases with the help of human beings, that one you can consider as manual testing. Okay, that one you can consider as manual testing. Okay, so if you perform the testing with the help of some automation tools, so that one you can consider as automation testing. Okay, so then we shift back to like uh, if you will be into manual testing, there are two types of releases, right? So like major release and minor release. Minor release means every 1 month, major release means every 3 months, but it may get vary from project to project. So that means normally for executing test cases, what is the scenario is like, let us suppose you are having 10,000 test cases for your application. Those 10,000 test cases, let us suppose 20 people were working, so each and everybody gets allocate like 500 test cases. So whenever they get released, okay, so at that time whatever the test cases got assigned for you needs to be executed. So that is the process within your project. Okay, so that means whatever the test cases got assigned for you, all those test cases needs to be executed against that release, right? So that means like per year how many major releases you will come across? 4 major release and 10 minor 12 minor releases. That means same set of test cases you could have executed per year 12 plus 4 16. And one more important thing is like whatever the test cases okay, so one more important thing is like what are the in a specific release you may come across multiple sub releases. I mean like you are into release 500, let us suppose. So in that release they may make sub release, depends on the situation. Okay, like 500, 501, 500.2, 500.3, 500.4.2, like that. Simply I mean to say like within a release, if they are making sub releases means they will differentiate it with dot. Okay, that means you could have executed same set of test cases 1000 times, 100 and like more than 20 times or 30 times. Okay, that means as a human beings we are performing the same stuff again and again means we'll get irritated, right? We'll get bored. Okay, so at that point of, and sometimes what will happen is you may whenever releases so you may stretch yourself more time. Okay, you may stretch yourself. Okay, right? So at that point of time, as we human beings we may do commonly mistakes, we may do commonly errors. Okay, so no accuracy during tiredness or repetitive tasks. Whenever you are performing the same task again and again and much time, okay, overload, so you may produce erroneous results. Okay, okay, meanwhile if you will be into manual testing, how many test cases you can execute per day? It depends is the best answer. Okay, depends. So per day, if those are simple test cases, you can execute 10 or 15. If those are complex test cases, you say like 2 or 3. Some days one test case also you may get a chance to execute. It's really true. Okay, it depends is the best answer. Simply depends on the complexity of the application, meanwhile complexity of the test cases. Okay, so that means like it will be like too much time consuming, right? Manual testing is too much time consuming, meanwhile more number of resources required, more number of resources required. Okay, so very difficult test objects properties. Specific object properties you have to validate. Let us suppose specific object properties you have to validate. Means like x coordinate or y coordinate or exact brightness. This kind of things with the help of human beings you cannot validate, right? You cannot validate. You cannot validate. Okay, so very difficult to test images or bitmaps. Very difficult to test images or bitmaps. Okay, so bitmaps roughly you can estimate, but exact brightness, exact intensity, this kind of stuff you have to validate means you cannot. Okay, so performance testing, load testing, stress testing, volume testing, so these all are with the help of human beings you have to perform means it's very difficult. Okay, so these all are the drawbacks of manual testing. To overcome these drawbacks, automation testing comes into picture. Okay, to overcome these drawbacks, automation testing comes into picture. Okay, so what is attended execution? You will be sitting in front of the computer and you will be executing the test cases that kind of testing you can consider as unattended execution. That kind of testing you can consider as unattended execution. Okay, sorry, attended execution. That kind of execution you can consider attended execution. Then what is unattended execution? If you come up with a framework, you don't touch manually. Before that, how you will get releases? So major release and minor releases, right? So that is for projects. Minor release means every 1 month, major release means every 3 months. This one mostly for products, but projects, sorry, this is for projects. Okay, minor release for 1 month, major release every 2 months, every 3 months. This is for projects. Okay, but products, what is the thing is, daily developers will be coming up with code. At the end of the day, they will make it as a new set of file. Daily it will happen. Daily developers will be making some changes in their code, right? So some automated scripts will be there. So those scripts, what will do is like they will automatically create set of files. It will happen at the end of the day, like 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. They will schedule like that. Okay, so those scripts, it will take the updated code and make as a set of file. As soon as your automation framework looks for that set of file, that latest set of file, automation framework automatically initiates execution. Once execution done, okay, so once execution initiates, what it will do is, initially your application needs to be installed, right? Your application needs to be installed, right? Your automation framework automatically installs whole of your application. Once installation done, what needs to be done? Smoke testing or sanity testing needs to be done, right? Okay. Before that, if you are executing, if you are maintaining whole of your framework in quality center, okay, so quality center, what is the thing is, test lab, your whole manual test case or automation execution results you can track in quality center itself. Okay, so execution results also you can track in your quality center, either is manual or automation. Okay, I will just give you idea. So you will create different test sets, and you have to map the test cases to different test sets. Like if those are smoke test cases, so smoke test set, one test set you will create in quality center, all related smoke testing test cases you will map to that test set. Exactly like sanity testing, exactly like some test cases needs to be executed in Windows XP environment, some test case needs to be executed in Windows Vista environment. Like that, different test sets, if you are executing manual test, if you are performing manual testing, manually you have to create test sets and you have to map. But automation execution is going on, your automation framework automatically creates test sets in your quality center and go one by one execution. Okay, so so your automation framework automatically initiates as soon as you get application latest build. So then smoke testing it will perform. Before performing this one, different test sets it will try to create in your quality center. Then it will go for like smoke testing, then it can go for like sanity testing, then it can go for like regression testing. Once regression testing, once execution done, it will be sending reports to your email, to your mailbox. Okay, so to your mailbox it will be sending out an email like summary kind of report and in detail kind of report. Okay, so summary is nothing but like, let us suppose you are executed 1000 scripts. Okay, you are put for 1000 scripts. So test case 1 pass or fail, test case 2 pass or fail, test case 3 pass or fail, like that. Test case pass or fail statement it will give you. Let us suppose specific test script got failed. Okay, it looks like this. Okay, this is the framework I have implemented for my earlier batch. Okay, so test results folder is there, right? Here you may be aware of like QTP give you its own reports along with its execution. While test scripts were executing, QTP gives its own results, but those results may not be useful for clients or for end users. Before that, small thing, automation framework concept is like domain expert will be there. Domain expert will be expert in domain like healthcare domain or insurance or something, whatever the domain it is, he will be expert. Automation engineer is expert in developing automation frameworks. So automation engineer, what he will do is he will get domain knowledge from domain expert and develop framework and give it to that framework, give it to manual tester. That means like domain expert. So domain expert, what he will be doing is like he will be using this automation framework for testing that application. This is the normal basic concept of your automation. But those domain expert is not expert in automation concepts, right? So they may not understand the QTP generation results. So that's the reason you have to come up with summary and in detail kind of reports like this. Okay, so you put for like 1000 skips. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So what is the test script name? Status pass or fail. Okay, start time, end time. So like this summary kind of report you have to come up with. Okay, let us suppose specific test script got failed. Okay, at exactly which step it got failed, you have to get to know means you have to go to that in detail reports. Okay, once you click on this one, you will go to that report. But the thing is, I have copied from another computer to this computer. That's the reason path got changed. Okay, that's the reason it's not working. So in detail kind of report, how it looks like is test case 1. Okay, so whatever the test case you are executing, so if it is Excel file, so it looks like this. Okay, so test step, expected value, actual value and result. Okay, and result. Okay, so result, see here result is pass or fail. Okay, and at what time exactly it has executed. Okay, so application navigated successfully as expected, login page navigated successfully as expected, username entered, password entered, not entered, something happened. Okay, so Salesforce homepage not navigated successfully. Okay, it got failed. Okay, these reports you can generate either of the way like text files or INI files or HTML files. Okay, but mostly people were preferring to go for like Excel files and second priority goes to HTML files. Okay, this one we will be implementing if it is like HTML kind of report. Okay, so this is the way you can come up with. Okay, so this is the kind of results it will be executing, generating while executing. Okay, so this one normally you can consider as unattended execution. Unattended execution means you don't touch manually anything. Okay, each and everything your automation frameworks take care. Okay, so normally if you are maintaining automation framework for any of your project means what is the thing is they will be using like virtual machines. They will purely dedicate 4 or 5 machines, virtual machines, and 24 hours in these systems your automation framework will be executing. Okay, so what is virtual machines? Normally virtual machines you don't see visually like your laptops or desktops. Okay, so companies what they will do is they will try to purchase servers. Those servers you can consider as ESX servers. Okay, so they will purchase servers. One server they can make multiple computers. This concept, these computers you can consider as virtual machines. Okay, these computers you can connect through remote desktop connection or VMware. Okay, VMware or something like that you have to connect. Okay, so these some most of the companies try to use like 4 or 5. It depends. Virtual machines. Okay, purely 24 hours on those machines your automation scripts will be executing. Okay, so this is nothing but like unattended execution. You don't touch manually. Okay, each and everything your framework will be taken care. Then you can go for like night execution or batch execution. Night execution means like while going home. Unattended execution mostly for products, night execution or batch execution for projects. Okay, so while implementing framework at the time you'll get very clear picture. As of now you can remember this is the stuff. Okay, so why you are going for unattended execution for products, night execution for project. Okay, you will get to know later. Okay, so night execution means while going home. Okay, while going home you'll just double click on master driver. You are maintaining one framework means you will be having master driver. Okay, so this is the master driver. Before executing, what you will do is all the tests. Okay, so one test case 1 2 3 4 like that, which are the test cases you have to execute along with the path you will be putting and execution flag, yes or no. Yes means the test needs to be executed, no means don't want to execute. Okay, you are put 1000 skips for execution, let us suppose due to some reason some skips got failed, like 800 skips got passed, 200 skips got failed, but these 200 skips got failed because of some unexpected thing or some simple issue. If you put for these scripts again, some of those scripts may get execute pass. So at that point of time, I mean to say like you may not get always situation like all the test case needs to be executed, right? So that's one how you can control is with the help of like execution flag. Okay, so result pass or fail, how much time is taking. Okay, if there are any comments you can add into comments field. So like that this kind of Excel sheet will be having. So here before starting execution you'll update which test cases you have to execute. Okay, and before starting execution what you have to do is you have to go to environment. Okay, so your application needs to be executed in multiple environments, right? So here environment details you will try to update, and meanwhile inputs, your inputs also needs to be passed. Okay, so how you can pass inputs is this is the way. Okay, so this is the way. So another file I can show you. Okay, so like this which are the test cases, then actions. Okay, then fields like this you can pass it up. So 100 skips or 1000 skips, how many skips you are having, like this you can pass it up. So before executing this one you will try to update with your test data. Okay, so 3 things you have to take care before execution. So what are those 3 things? Environment, which environment needs to be executed, and input data you have to update, and night execution.xls. Master driver you have to go. So night execution.xls you have to update accordingly. Then you can just double click on this master driver. Tomorrow morning you will come and you will be able to see results like how many skips you put for execution, how many skips got passed, how many skips got failed. Okay, so this is nothing but like night execution. We will be implementing this one. At that time you will get very clear picture. Okay, as of now you can remember this is the stuff. Okay, then automation is very fast, right? Automation execution will be very fast, reliable. Power is there, computer is on, your script is executing, it will provide you 100% accurate results. 100 times, 1,000 times, or millions of times if you execute same operation, it's a machine, it don't get poor or it don't get irritated, something like that. Okay, 100% accurate results it will provide you. Okay, then repeatable or reusable. Any of the programming language, this is very basic concept. So which all are the repeatable steps you are having? Those repeatable steps you can make as functions. Those functions you can reuse them in your main programs how many times you want. Okay, like a simple example, you have to make sum for 100 different numbers, 100 two different numbers, like 1 comma 2, 3 comma 4, 1 comma 5, like that. For different sets of two numbers you have to create sum. Normally means how you have to come up with, so two numbers you have to pass, print sum you have to calculate, print sum, like that. 100 times you have to come up with. Instead of coming 100 times, you can make as one function. For that function you can pass two parameters, two values, and you can call 100 times. Right? So this one you can consider as functions. This is very high level. So if you are not aware of, like if you are not from computers background or something like that, VB script basics I have already shared, you can go through. Okay, so here VB script basics I have already shared. Whenever you have time you can go through and practice it. Even though for your batch again I will try to come up with very detailed. Okay, at that time you'll get very clear picture. Okay, as of now if you are interested or whenever you get time you can go through these videos. Okay, so that means like in your automation also you can implement that reusability kind of stuff. Okay, so that is nothing but like repeatable or reusability. Okay, okay, by taking example I will tell you. Let us suppose your application is having, like you are working for Gmail application, you are having 10,000 test cases total. Okay, so it's not possible to automate these 10,000 test cases. As of now you can remember this the stuff, I will explain you why, how. Okay, so these 10,000 test cases you have to automate means it's very complex, huge amount of time it will take. Okay, and meanwhile maintenance also very difficult. How maintenance is difficult, why you are saying like it's very complex, I will explain in detail later. As of now you can remember this is the stuff. So you will pick up 1,000 test cases to go for automation. You are having 10,000 test cases. From those 10,000 test cases you will pick up 1,000 test cases to go for automation. Okay, so normally which factors you will consider to go to pick up these 1,000 test cases? Okay, so I will explain you later. So I will give you like a very high level. If you go for like manual testing, you will be coming up with creating test cases, right? Okay, how many types of test cases you can create? There are 3 types of test cases you can come up with. Okay, so there are 3 types of test cases you can come up with. Those are nothing but like what are those? Business logic based test cases, business logic based test cases, then usability test cases, and input domain test cases. Okay, business logic based test cases, usability test cases, and input domain test cases. Usability test cases means whether your application is providing user friendly interface or not. If you remember, like while creating test cases for Gmail, at the time we come up with like usability test cases, right? That one comes under like usability test cases. Input domain test cases. How many types of testing techniques? There are 4 testing techniques you will try to follow, right? What are those? Boundary value analysis, boundary value analysis, equivalence class partition, decision table or partition table, and error guessing. Okay, so these all are the different things you will come across in testing techniques. For this one, you can come up with creating test cases, right? So these test cases comes under like input domain test cases. Then business logic based test cases. These are important test cases. Okay, so what exactly your business demand, what exactly your business requirements, those one comes under like business logic based test cases, are nothing but like functionality test cases. Okay, so business logic based test cases comes under like functionality test case comes under business logic based test cases. Also security test cases and performance test cases. Okay, so performance test cases, these 3 comes under like business logic based test cases. Okay, normally here I am saying like you'll pick up 1000 test cases to go for automation, right? So from these different types of test cases, mostly you will prefer to go for like functionality test cases for automating. It doesn't mean these test cases, usability test cases or input domain test cases or these test cases you cannot automate. If you want to automate, you can automate. But mostly these test cases you'll pick up. Okay, why I will explain you later. As of now you can remember this is the stuff. Okay, so usually you are going for automation for projects means functionality test cases you'll pick up to go for automation. So 1000 test cases you are picked up to go for automation, right? Okay. Okay, so during starting days of okay, so you were picked up 1000 test cases to go for automation. Okay, so 1000 test case you are picked up automation. Normally during starting days of your automation, how people were implementing initially during starting days, like how your automation framework is like okay, so login is one test case, let us suppose compose mail is another test case, like that. Login they will come up with one test script, compose mail, inbox, outbox, send mail, logout, all those 999 test cases, let us assume. Okay, So each and every test script they come up with. So for executing those scripts unattendedly, what they will do is they will be calling sequentially. Like login test case is one. First they will call login, then compose mail test cases, then inbox related, then outbox like that. Okay, that means like here my point is like 999 test cases depends on login. So that's why you are calling login test case first, then remaining 999 test cases you are calling for batch execution. You put for execution, I shown you right, master driver. While going home, you just double click on master driver. Okay, so due to some reason, let us suppose login test case got failed. Due to some reason, login test case got failed, let us assume. Okay, so remaining 999 test cases gets failed, right? 999 test cases gets failed. So that means if this is the case, is it really meeting your automation expectation? No. Okay, so to overcome this kind of inconveniences, what you have to do is like instead of making them like dependency. So dependency is the case means you come up means these are the problems you will get up, right? So dependency is the case means like depending test case got failed, or other test case also gets failed. So to overcome this problem, what you have to do is you have to make it independent. Each and every test script you have to make independent. Sorry. Each and every test script you have to make independent means what you have to do? That means you have to log in for each and every test case and log out separately. You have to log in and log out each and every test case separately, right? Okay. So login you have to record 100,000 times, logout also you have to record 1,000 times. So login means how many steps you will come across? Navigate gmail.com. Before that small step I will tell you, automation is nothing but like which are the manual steps you are having, you'll convert each and everything to automation. Okay, so you have to navigate manually. What are the steps you have to perform? You have to navigate Gmail login, then you have to enter username, you have to enter password, click on sign in button, and you will validate home page, right, manually. Automation also you'll be coming up with same steps but you are coming up with script like that. Okay, you are coming up with script like that. Okay, so here 5 lines of code you'll be coming up with. These 5 lines of code 1,000 times you have to come up with. Okay, so today your requirement is like username, correct password, click on sign in button, right? So your UI is like username, password, sign in. After few days you come up with change request, like instead of sign in button they want OK button. Let us suppose they come up with change request. Okay, so 1,000 times you are recorded, right? So again you have to go to 1,000 scripts and you have to update accordingly, right? So you have to update accordingly. Right? So that means like wherever sign in is there you have to change it with like username and like OK button. So 1,000 places you have to update means how much time it will take? 3 weeks or 4 weeks of time, right? So instead of following that approach, what we could have done is like for login we can come up with one function. That function you were inserted in 1,000 scripts. Tomorrow any change request comes up like that, instead of sign in button they want OK button. You can go to login function, you can update sign in button with OK button and within fraction of minutes it will get reflected to your 1,000 scripts. How much easy it is? So this kind of framework you will be coming up with. that means like reusability you will be implementing. So this is nothing but like repeatable or reusable. Okay. So this is nothing but like repeatable or reusable. Okay, then programmable. Any of the automation tool, if you go for like basically it will provide like record and playback features, means like basic stuff you can record. Okay, so you'll click on any of the tool. If you go for like QTP tool, you click on record button, you'll navigate your application, like you'll navigate Gmail application, you will enter correct username, you will enter correct password, click on sending button, then you click on stop button. So what your QTP will do is each and every manual operation it will record. Okay, each and every manual action whatever you are performing, each and every step it will record. Okay, it will get record in your QTP. But the recorded script may not meet your 100% automation expectations. Best example, I always use it to say like while putting for batch execution, night execution, your automation scripts see here, get generate summary kind of report and in detail kind of report, right? Summary kind of reports and in detail kind of reports like this, HTML or Excel. QTP don't have built-in feature, you have to come up with functions. Okay, and another example I told, once execution done, it will be sending out email to your mailbox, summary and in detail, like some report kind of stuff. Even that one QTP doesn't have built-in feature. Okay, you have to come up with functions. Exactly. Okay, you have to read data how you are passing in the form of XLS. Okay, test data you are reading in the you are passing to your framework in the form of XLS, but you have to read data from your XLS, right? So QTP cannot read data directly from your Excel. Again, you have to come up with VBScript functions. All those functions you are putting under functions library. So this is nothing but like programmable. Okay, another way, so here in master driver you are coming up with like night execution.xls, right? Here which scripts got passed, which scripts got failed, this one you are controlling, right? So this one you have to control. How you can control? QTP doesn't have built-in feature, you have to come up with again like VBScript. And which environment you have to execute, that one you are controlling in test environment. So again for this one you have to come up with VBScript. Okay. So this is what you have to come up with in the form of functions. All these all are nothing but like VBScript functions you will be coming up with. Okay, in order to perform all these operations you have to come up with programming. That is nothing but like real meaning of programmable. Okay. The recorded script may not meet your 100% automation expectations, so you have to come up with that is nothing but like programmable. What is your main purpose of automation? Needs to be executed in multiple environments and multiple releases. Multiple environments means one of the one project you are working means there may be so many environments like SIT environment, MIT environment, testing environment, manual testing, automation testing, performance testing. I am just saying example, not like all of the projects. It may get vary from project to project. Okay. So once you come up with your automation scripts, it needs to be executed in multiple environments, in all of these environments, and for each and every environment you will be coming up with like multiple releases, right? SIT 100, SIT 200, SIT 300, SIT 400, SIT 400.1, SIT 400.2, like that. So many releases will be coming up with. Your automation framework needs to be executed in all of these environments. So that is nothing but like manageable. Here the framework you are managing across multiple environments and multiple releases. Okay, so this is nothing but like manageable. Okay, so this is nothing but like manageable. Simply you have to say means this is nothing but like manageable. but really manageable is nothing but like how it looks like is by taking example. I will tell you. Gmail, if you take, which are the features you come across? Login, compose mail, inbox, outbox, send mail, drafts, trash. Yahoo Mail, if you take, similar features you will come across. Read Mail, if you take, similar kind of features you come across. Okay, like that, which are the mail applications are there, almost same features you will come across. Here my point is like, even though all these applications having similar features, why you are implementing different frameworks? Why don't you come up with one common framework? That framework can handle all of these applications. That is nothing but like manageable. Okay, if you come up with one common framework can handle multiple projects, that kind of project you can consider as manageable. Normally you can consider as business process testing, BPT framework. That one you can consider as business process testing, BPT framework. Okay. So is this really possible to come up with one framework in this kind of scenarios like Gmail, Yahoo Mail or something like that? In this scenario is not really possible. Okay, one framework for multiple projects. If you come up with that kind of framework, you can consider as BPT framework. But really this scenario it may not work out. Why? Different applications could have used different technologies, right? So it may not possible. But CRM applications, if you take, CRM applications means customer relationship management applications. In your computers you will come across like SAP, Oracle apps, CWell. These applications comes under like okay, these applications comes under CRM applications. Why you are calling it a customer relationship management is like any of the business they have to grow, means they should maintain good relationship with their customers, right? There these applications plays major role. That's why these applications you are considering it as like CRM applications. Okay. So normally these are products. CWell, if you take like product, SAP also product, Oracle apps also like product. Okay, CWell originally developed by like CWell company, later taken over by Oracle. Now CWell is Oracle and it is product. Any telecom applications mostly they will go for like CWell. Telecom applications they can go for CWell. Okay, so most of the projects like CWell applications, what they will do is they'll purchase license from Oracle and they will be using 80% of the features, existing features, and remaining 20% they will be customizing according to their own requirements. 80% features, same features will come across almost all of the applications like CWell applications if you go for. Okay, CWell project whatever they are using. Okay, so 20% they can customize according to their own requirements. At that point of time you can come up with same framework for multiple projects, right? Okay, at that point of time you can come up with one framework can handle multiple projects. Technology also same here. So that is nothing but like manageable. Really these days people were coming up with this kind of framework. Okay, really people were coming up with this kind of framework these days. Okay, so this is nothing but like manageable. As of now you can remember that is the same. Going forward we'll implement, right? So at that time you'll be getting very clear picture. Okay, optimizable. Today what are the features you are having in your application? Accordingly you try to come up with like your automation framework. Are this IT industry is stable? Are client requirements are stable? Not at all, right? So which kind of change requests, which kind of functionality, which kind of enhancements tomorrow you will come up with, you are not sure, right? So while implementing framework you have to keep in mind like if your application is optimizing, your application requirements are changing, your framework also should be optimizable in such a manner. So like that you have to come up with your automation framework. So that is nothing but like automation, optimizable. Okay, so your automation, your application is changing time to time. Your automation also, automation framework also should be optimizable in such a manner. So that is nothing but like optimizable. Along with this one, so very easy to verify object properties like color, size, color, like x coordinate, y coordinate. Very easy to validate images or bitmaps. Very easy to perform performance testing, load testing, stress testing. Okay, very easy to perform volume testing. So these all are the advantages of your automation testing. Okay, so these all are nothing but like advantages of your automation testing. Any questions, anybody, before moving further? Okay, then we can go for like disadvantages of your automation testing. Very expensive. Normally in your automation front there are two types of tools you will come across: freeware tools and licensed tools. Freeware tools means you can download from internet and you can use with free of cost. Okay, so freeware tools and licensed tools. Okay, so freeware tools means you can purchase with you don't want to purchase. Okay, so you can download from your internet and can use with free of cost. Licensed tools, you have to purchase license. Okay, I will be explaining in detail later what are freeware tools and which tools you will come across in freeware tools and licensed tools. As of now, just to try to understand what is freeware and what is license. Okay, licensed tools means you have to purchase license. Again, there are two types of licenses: floating license or concurrent license. Floating or concurrent license means user basis. User basis, like 2 users or 3 users or 5 users. Okay, 3 users or something like that people will come up with. Most of the companies go for like this floating license. Okay, so 3 users or 5 users they will purchase and they will go for. Meanwhile, IT industry is working around like 24 hours, right? On-site, offshore. Okay, so in India is daytime means in US is nighttime. In US is daytime means in India is nighttime. Okay, so 24 hours they will be utilizing. Okay, so floating license means, so most of the companies preferring to go for like floating license. That means like 2 or 3 users they will purchase and they'll be utilizing. So the license, the cost of these licenses will be in like 5 to 10 lakhs. Okay, 5 to 10 lakhs. And one more license type you will come across like permanent license. Permanent also you can consider as like seat license. The license will be in crores and lifelong. This is per year and per user basis. Per year and per user. But this is lifelong. Okay, this is lifelong. The cost of this license will be in crores. Okay, the cost of this license will be in crores. Okay, so like that, that's the way you are saying like these are very expensive. Okay, is it really expensive? So automation, one automation tool, if you take like 10 lakhs Indian rupees, they are spending letters also. 10 lakh Indian rupees. Okay, so how much salary they have to pay for automation engineer? 10 lakhs they are paying. Okay, automation resource 10 lakhs plus license 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs. That means like one automation tool can handle more than 10 manual resources job, right? More than 10 manual resources job. So 10 manual resources company is managing, let us suppose. So on an average for 10 resources, 5 lakh Indian rupees, if we consider like 5 lakhs they are paying. That means like 5 into 10, 50 lakhs. Some employees they may pay like more than that also. Okay, again 10 resources they have to provide laptop, desktops. So many other resources also needs to be provided, right? So that means like on an average 1 crore they are spending for manual testing, while automation testing 20 lakhs or 30 lakhs is enough. If you consider like this, automation is very cheap, right? But why you are saying like automation is very expensive? It's not the case for all of the projects. Okay, so very expensive means is for small projects. If you take like supermarket applications or banking management systems, no sorry, not hotel management systems, for these applications it doesn't take more than 6 months. Okay, so for those applications if you take like 1 or 2 releases will come up with. So for these kind of applications, if you think like it is very expensive and costly, but for most of the applications it's not that expensive. Okay, that is what you have to remember. So very expensive means it's not for all of the cases, it depends on the project. Okay, automation is very expensive. Okay, and cannot automate 100% of the application. I said right, cannot automate 100% of the application. Can you tell me these are the scenarios you cannot automate? Much human interactions required. Those kind of applications you cannot automate. Best example, gaming application. Okay, or some of the operations, some of the events processing backend, like in your CPU or in your printer. Those things, remember, you have to go for automation means UI should be there. If there is no UI, you cannot automate. Okay, clear? So background operations are performing. Those kinds of actions you cannot perform. You cannot automate. Okay, except that anything you want to automate means you can automate. I said different types of test cases, right? So mostly if it is project means you can go for like functionality test cases, you'll pick up to go for automation. It doesn't mean you cannot automate these test cases. If you want to automate, you can automate, but by considering side factors. What are those side factors? Okay, per day how many test cases you can automate? I mean to say like converting manual test cases to automation. Per day how many test cases you can automate? 1 or 2 just. Best answer is like depends. But per day you can automate, you can convert manual test cases to automation means like 1 or 2 test cases you can automate. If it is very simple test case like successful login, you may automate 5 or 6 test cases. Why means you have to make sure in different environments you have to make perfect your script means it will be like too much complex. Okay. So 10,000 test cases you have to automate means how many automation tests required, how many days required. So that's the reason this is one point you don't pick up to go for like 100% automation. And what are the applications you take today? Are those having stable functionalities, stable requirements? No, right? So most of the applications these days are frequently changing. So if you go for this kind of functionalities, if you go for this kind of applications, you will try to automate some test cases. By that time you are getting change requests. Again you have to re-put your efforts for updating the existing test scripts. So here you are investing your efforts for developing new test scripts and updating existing test scripts, where you are really utilizing those scripts for automation, for regression testing. No, right? So that's the reason if you want to automate, you can automate, but it's not advisable to go for automation. That's the reason instead of telling here like cannot automate 100%, cannot go for 100% automation. Okay, if you want to automate, you can automate, but it's not advisable to go for 100% automation by considering side factors. Some projects they were automated 100%. That if it is, remember, products means you don't get frequent change requests, so you want to automate means you can automate 100%, but if it is projects you don't go for 100% automation. So these are the points you try to remember. Okay, too much time consuming, I said, right? So automation converting is like not that much easy. Per day 1 or 2 test cases if you automate means how much time it will require. You don't get confused, like manual testing also time consuming, right? But here I'm saying like automation testing also time consuming. Remember, for converting manual test cases to automation is time consuming, one time effort. For converting manual test case to automation, it will be too much time consuming, but once you convert, execution will be very fast, right? Execution will be very fast. Okay, okay, time consuming. Management of test scripts is not that much easy, it's very difficult. Okay, management of test scripts is very difficult. So to handle that kind of situations means technically expertise people require. Okay, so these all are the advantages of your automation, disadvantage of your automation testing. Okay, so how much big is your application, how much stable is your application? In order to go for automation, you'll consider these are the two factors. Along with this one, which tool is best suited to go for automation? That means like feasibility study you will take to do. Along with that one, what are the advantages of your automation testing? Like unattended execution, fast, reliable, repeatable, programmable, manageable. All these are the different factors you'll consider to go for automation. Okay, so this is nothing but like your introduction to automation. Okay, I have unmuted. Anybody having any questions? No questions? No? Okay, that's fine. No, thank you. Fine. Sorry? Yeah, tell me. Yeah. Without having application itself, you can go for automation. It's not like this is the right time to go for automation. So without having application itself, you can go for automation, but mostly your application gets stable at least up to some extent, like 2 or 3 releases you come up with. Okay, then that is the best time to go for automation. Okay, so I said like without having application you can go for automation, right? At any point of time you can go if you want to go for, but how, that one you will get to know later. Okay, descriptive level programming is there. With the help of descriptive level programming you can go for automation at any point of time, but people were really not implementing that is approach. Okay, but right time is up to some extent. Once you get application stable, then you can go for automation. Okay, any more questions? Very good question, very good interview question also this one. What time is the best time to go for automation? Okay, very good interview question. Okay, any more questions? I said already, right? How many test cases you can automate per day, right? How many test cases you can automate? Yeah, manual. How many manual test cases you can write? That means like around 10. Depends is the best answer. 5 or 6 test cases you can write, or 10 test cases or 15 test cases, not more than that. Okay, so why means see, you are creating test cases means you have to analyze the requirements, you have to understand the functionality. Okay, so then you have to come up with test cases, right? So analyzation portion takes much time. That's the reason it depends is the best answer. Really 4 or 5 test cases you can automate per day, or max 10. More than that, you can create. More than that you cannot come up with creating new test cases per day. Okay, any more test case, any more questions? That's it. Okay, then